For the most part, a lot of gamers are happy with just finishing a game. Seeing that sweet story conclusion with maybe a side quest or two chucked in is usually enough for the casual gamer. Job done, on to the next adventure. Yet for the hardcore, the 100%ers, there's getting every last drop from the fruit they've invested in. Whether that's smashing all the record times on tracks designed to test your limits, or the flow-breaking grind to hit milestones in an otherwise fast-paced shooter. I'd even wager that none of you have considered standing motionless for a whole hour in a video game, or deliberately not taking a survivor to refuge. But they're there should you want to reach out and try these feats. You can't go rushing in blind though. You do have to do your homework. So get that 5-hour energy on standby because some of these are going to take a while. Oh, and don't go blaming me if you decide to attempt them. Also, quick disclaimer, this isn't just Xbox and PC achievements. It's more a collection of feats that require a lot of effort and therefore are big achievements in general. That being said, some will be tied to achievements and trophies, as you'll soon see. So without further ado, I'm the newest member of the WhatCulture family, that is Kirsten, and these are the 10 video game achievements that you seriously needed to plan out. Number 10. Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots. Emblems. Metal Gear Solid 4 is a notorious game for trophy hunters, especially when you consider that any you would have earned pre-trophy patch doesn't count. Meaning, in essence, you have to restart everything in the game. Putting aside that you have to finish the game on each difficulty separately, the real task for the hardcore devotees is the emblem and the title collection. Now, some are fairly straightforward for a Metal Gear Solid game. Finish on a certain difficulty with set parameters, such as not killing many people or being alerted. Fair enough. But how many of us considered leaning on walls for an hour total? How about a combined 2.5 hours crouched? And who knew you could give rebel soldiers items in the first playthrough? As far as requirements go, those are some of the tamer ones. There's no real reason to unlock these other than that 100% completion of Metal Gear Solid 4. Granted, we sometimes grind a little for the odd trophy or two, but come on, there's a limit. I mean, who's going to flick through 100 pages of those naughty magazines in first-person mode? No, you at the back, put your hand down. Number 9. Dead Rising 2 Off the Record. Alpha vs Omega. If you thought staying alive for 14 real-time hours was bad enough, at least you can console yourself in one thing. You only had to look after yourself. You didn't have to make sure the first survivor in the game, right near the start, has to stay alive until the 7th case file, which is just over halfway through the game. You didn't have to ensure that she doesn't follow you up to the safe house or get automatically transferred there during an earlier boss fight, or make sure she doesn't die in between. But that's what Dead Rising 2 Off the Record has you do for an extra dose of absurdity. The planning and legwork necessary is unreal, not to mention the effort taken to make sure that Denise doesn't perish before she lands a single blow on Sergeant Boykin. It's insane, especially in a franchise that doesn't have the best reputation for AI behaviour. It's a lot to ask of you for such a paltry achievement. If you thought transporting a garden gnome in Half-Life 2's Episode 2 was tough, you ain't seen nothing yet. At least the gnome couldn't die. Number 8. Mortal Kombat X. My Kung Fu is stronger. Ask a fan of fighting games who their main is, which is a character they primarily focus on, and they'll instantly know. You don't invest that much time in any game or fighter if you weren't seriously getting good with them. Sure, you may dabble with other characters on occasion, but we always stick to what we know, right? But what about when a game throws a challenge in that expects you to broaden your horizons? Now, I've used Mortal Kombat X here, but the same can be applied for the recent Street Fighters too. Mastery of each fighter for the sake of completion. In the latter's case, it's usually tied to challenges and story modes. Yet Mortal Kombat X goes one further, expecting you to win 100 battles, pull 100 of each kind of finishing move, as well as spill 10,000 pints of blood with each of the 27 main characters, as well as play with each character for a minimum of 24 hours no less. If you weren't desensitized to the violence before this, you'll be numb by the end. Number 7. Outlast. Saving your energy. Outlast, when it first scared the bejesus out of us in 2013, offered a unique twist on the first-person horror experience. Before Five Nights at Freddy's took over with its monitor-focused gameplay, Outlast managed horrifying tension with just one tiny screen. For you see, or don't in this case, most of the power in the Mount Massive Asylum has been rather inconsiderably knocked out by the time Miles gets embroiled in the goings-on. So he has to rely on his trusty, hand-operated camcorder and its night vision mode, which is fine in a this is not fine, I'm shitting myself kind of way. Thankfully, there are batteries at hand, in a serendipitous stroke of luck. For those that like a challenge and are accustomed to the dark, there's an accomplishment for doing it with one battery, namely, the one you start with. The thought of going back and playing most of it in the dark already freaks me out, so kudos and good luck to anyone who wants to attempt this madness. Number 6. Max Payne 3 – Slave to the Grind. Max Payne 3, whilst a beautiful game with solid gunplay and a decent story, is not a fun game for completionists. Not only is there a trophy/achievement for finishing on the hardest difficulty, but there's one for doing it on the hardest difficulty on a time limit without dying. But that's not why we're here today. No, that's more for the dedicated, the ones with the aim so true and aversion to being shot. Instead, I refer to the grind of, well, the grinds, a set of in-game challenges that vary in scope but many in total. Some are pretty standard, X amount of melee finishes, the shoot-dodge kills, collecting golden gun parts, all par for the course, right? Then there's the kills specific to how Max is positioned on the floor, for example. Even stranger, there's a grind for destroying cars, in a game that doesn't have a lot of cars. It meant replaying chapters was necessary, which was all the more painful when you had to listen to Max's monologues before being able to skip the cutscene. Grind, indeed. Number 5. Rock Band 2 – Bladder of Steel. Are you sitting comfortably? Chances are you won't be after 6.5 hours of playing Rock Band 2. That doesn't sound too bad, right? The catch? You cannot pause. It's called the Endless Setlist for a reason, and it requires you to play it without pausing or failing. Yes, you heard that correctly. Rock Band 2 wants you to play it for a solid quarter of your day without stopping for a tinkle break, just to unlock some bragging rights. Alright, I'll drop the melodrama. Yes, you can pause it if you really need to, but no one would be planning this if they didn't want that achievement. But you need preparation and commitment. You also cannot accidentally hit the home/dashboard button on a controller, as it counts as a pause, as well as when your battery-operated instrument starts dying mid-strum. So be warned. It's certainly not for the faint-hearted, or small-bladdered, with the more savvy of you working out a tag team system if the option's there. Failing that, you could just pull a Who and trash your guitar if you mess up. Number 4. Celeste, the B and C missions. Celeste, for all its amazing charm and surprising depth for such a simple-looking game, is bastard hard. No, I will not sugarcoat it. No, I haven't finished it. No, you're sulking. Alright, strop aside, Celeste is beautiful yet challenging. It's got that old school nature of persistence and pattern memorization, carrying the torch on from the likes of Super Meat Boy and Cuphead. Deceptively cute but pad-breakingly tough. And that's just the main missions. Then there's the B-sides, which are harder versions of the normal levels. Unlocked by finding tapes, they are necessary for that pesky 100 completion rate. But wait, there's more! Finding the hidden tape and the crystal hearts hidden in a B-side level, and you'll unlock a C-side mission. If you thought that the B-sides were hard, you've seen nothing yet. These will test you, as you need the dexterity of a caffeine-addled juggler, nailing precise wall jumps and dashes to survive these. If you can master them, then hats off to you, sir. It takes nothing short of mastery to nail these tricky climbs. Number 3. Any Trials game, getting platinum medals. Trials games, be it the first console one in Trials HD back in 2009 or the somewhat tainted Rising in 2019, are a great example of one more go gaming. What starts off as fun in games as you bunny hop and flip through courses, the real challenge comes in getting those gold medals with better times. That is, until you finish a certain amount of tracks per game and the platinum tier of medals unlocked. That means doing all of those courses again, but better. by which I mean nailing every line and jump perfectly, continually flowing, knowing every shortcut and when to hop to the next obstacle. So that means over HD, Evolution, Fusion and Rising, some 100 tracks need to be mastered perfectly for those elusive platinum medals. Oh, that also means no faults. It's all got to be in one run. If you were proud of finishing Inferno IV with a mere 90 faults, you're going to be very disappointed. Best get those thumb exercises in. Number 2. Resident Evil Knives Out. Yours truly could speedrun Resident Evil 2 back in the day in just under 2 hours with an S rank. This was back when speedrunning wasn't a thing, but it was still cool. I even managed to recently complete the Tofu Survivor mode, after many hours and attempts, which is a short but just as painfully frustrating knife-only run. Evasive? Yes, but bring a blade to an undead fight and your chances of survival are very low, my friend. Yet they are a core contingent of Resident Evil fans, from the chunky Jill sandwich days through the remastered and HD iterations, all the way to the present remakes that will go at it with nothing but quick wits, quicker reflexes, and a blade. It's pretty crazy, in a good way, when you consider how much of an arsenal an average Resi game throws at you. Now, I don't know about you, but if someone offered me a minigun over 6 inches of serrated metal and my other item slots were full of mushed herbs and inexplicably designed keys, I know what's getting left behind. But no, some mad smashers will take on the nemesis with a knife and a smile. There's even knife-only speedruns. You crazy, crazy fools. Number 1. Gears of War 3. Seriously? Whether it was intended to carry on in the sequels from the start, or just something Epic ran with following the success of the first one, there's no denying the bragging rights of hitting a seriously achievement in Gears of War. The first 2 were fairly innocuous, coming as a part of the grind if you played online anyway. 10,000 kills is a lot, 100,000 a considerable step up, but that was just a tally for the fans to hit. Yet Seriously 3.0 didn't just ramp up the challenge, it launched it into space. Not content with having you hit an overall level of 100, you also had to earn every Onyx medal. This meant an insane amount of grind, culminating in thousands of matches played. Add in thousands of kills with each weapon and executions, you've got a lot of work to do. It's been cited as one of the Xbox's hardest achievements, and it's not hard to see why. There may be some shortcuts available, but this is no quick feat. And that's all I have for you. Leave a comment and let us know the craziest things you've done to get that last pesky achievement. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Seriously, there's a really cool achievement if you hit it, but you do have to use a garden gnome to press it. Until next time, I've been Kirsten from WhatCulture and thank you all for watching.